Hey guys and welcome back to a new What If here. Today we are doing What If Naruto got a second chance but as a girl part 1. And yes, I know you go into the description, yes, the description down below, you'll find links, and one of them is to a book or a fan fiction. It'd be more accurately to say fan fiction on kind of this exact topic, because it was my second one, I think. Yeah, second one I ever had an idea about. But yeah. Anyway, also for those who are very much patient, thank you for obviously being patient and waiting a week for me to get back into doing what ifs, and then and obviously having to delay this one as I was pretty much shattered. And when I mean shattered, I mean like for almost the first time in my entire life I very much just wanted to go to sleep. I really couldn't properly think, so I just, before I had a shower, obviously put on the community tab, asked you what I did, and you guys wanted a roughly hour and a half to 2 hour long what if instead of a 30-40 minute long one, probably reached barely able to function. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into this. So, Naruto would be somewhat on the ground on his knees as he'd be panting, as you'd then hear a voice, as the voice would say, we finally did it. We finally managed to do it. Well done, Sochi. As Naruto would can smile and go, yes, we finally managed to kill him. We finally managed to kill Madara. As then another voice would be heard as it'd go, well, now that it's done, it's, as much as I don't want to say this, Naruto, but for one, you probably are actually the last person alive, and also, we have to go back. We can't linger around in the living world for really much more. That while we've been here for a year, of course, with you fighting Madara, just say I know, GG. I know, and I thank all of you, Mum, Dad, GG, and Pervy Sage. Thank you all for helping me defeat Madara. As they'd all somewhat smile like Naruto and go, it was our pleasure, Naruto. It was our pleasure to help you, but what Naruto would say, but what? Well, Sochi, you see, if Kami-sama or Shinigami-sama come to you and ask you if you'd like to, say, have a second chance, take it. It may sound kind of odd coming from me, but obviously you'd be probably back in time to who knows when, maybe when you're 12, when you're 10, I don't know, but if you take it, then obviously you'd have knowledge from how the bad outcome can be, and hopefully, with knowledge of, say, what obviously had happened here to lead all of this to happen, you can try and avoid, or at least avoid this outcome again. I don't know, Mum, but I will strongly think about it, though. That's all that I ask, Sochi. I would want you to be alone until you eventually pass away. That would somewhat just nod and go. I don't really know what to say except for that. Well, no matter your choice, no matter where you go in life, I will always be there watching over you, Naruto. No matter if you choose to somehow, say, invent a seal to throw you back in time, or even if Kami-sama comes and asks you to, and asks if you'd like to go back, obviously in time to, say, to somewhat kind of hopefully stop the eradication of pretty much nearly all life on the elemental nations. But no matter where or when, I'll still love you for who you are, Naruto, my son. I don't just nod as he'd run through hand signs, as he'd then say release, as Minato, Kushina, Hiruzen and Jiraiya's bodies would somewhat start to glow, as Jiraiya would go, I always knew you could do it. I always know you can do it, Naruto. Just remember, if you could go back in time, well, I would. I'd go, yeah, but you're just a pervert. Hey, I'm a super pervert. Kushina would just stare at him in slight disgust and disbelief as you go, what? Anyway, kid, I am just happy, very happy that I at least got to see you one more time. So I guess thank you for this. Thank you for somewhat just bringing me back to life, even though it was to help finally end Madara. I just somewhat just nod as they would then fly up into the sky, the bodies they once occupied crumbling into dust, as Naruto would just somewhat cry as he would find himself in his mindscape, as Kumo would somewhat just hug him, Kumo being in his human form, and just somewhat go, it's alright, Naruto, isn't that to go, nothing's alright, this was meant to happen, as he would just cry, as Naruto just he'd just cry for hours, as though Kumo would somewhat think, as he'd spread his sensory abilities to its limit, as he'd go, hey, Naruto, could you say this, disperse a large amount of chocolate? Why? Well, if you do that should, once it gets to a certain distance, it should pretty much act as a booster for my sensory ability. So I should be able to sense if you really are the only person alive on this, on the elemental nations. I told someone Nodon would chant well and would build up chakra up until Kermit told him that was enough and dispersed it. And Kermit would wait a solid half a minute to a minute as Kermit then reactivate his / sensory abilities as he'd go, I'm sorry kid, but you really are the last one alive out of humans, and I'm the last beast alive. And I would say, if I could, I'm not blaming you. No, I'm not blaming you for. They chose to build up there. They chose to somewhat after you managed to pull me out of the ten tails. You managed to pull the other half of me out to make me whole again, and they decided to somewhat kind of cause an explosion, and however they did that, they chose to do that. They knew that as long as I wasn't inside the the ten tails would never be reformed. They knew that, and they chose to blow it up. So I don't blame you, Naruto, for their deaths. They chose that. But still, no bats get known. Fine. If I truly am the last one, then I don't think you may know this, but I somewhat have come up with a jutsu. Yes, it's somewhat similar like my transformation or sexy jutsu, where I turn into girl, but it's a permanent jutsu, meaning it's a pretty much one go, meaning that once I activate it, I will forever be a girl until I die. I would be like if Granny was if Tsunade was still alive and she checked over my body once I activated the jutsu, she'd just see me out, she'd everything, whatever tests she could do would prove that I was a gal. But why would you? Well, I can somewhat change the seal a bit so that you could actually leave the seal, though your chakra would still be inside of me, so I would obviously be alive. And well, say mate and that, and repopulate the entire planet with kind of half human, half wild beast children. Can I somewhat just be surprised and go, you sure I am, though? I just have to leave his mindscape, and just before he could even start running through the hands for that jutsu, Kami herself would come as a bright light, just doing that whole kind of conversation. Well, up until up until just after they had finally successfully killed Madara. Kami and her twin sister Shinigami were talking with one another to somewhat decide should they send Naruto either back in time, but then there would be two of them, or should they send them to, say, another say similar one, but with, say, some changes. And Shinigami had told her sister that why don't we instead give him, say, the option, and if he does take to be thrown, like, to, say, be back in a, who knows, say, like a 5-6 year old body, maybe even younger, but like if he chooses that, he must choose one or how many options to somewhat, say, change and somewhat stabilize that, like, that one, so it's different from obviously our outcome. Like, you could choose, say, to give up, say, ever being able to have children, or, say, become, like, to choose to become a gal, or a fox, a dragon, a tail beast, something along those lines. You kind of think and go, that's a good idea. You should wait the spirit, they have, say, returned to my domain, and once they have, then do it, because appearing when they are, then you may end up accidentally sending them, say, to that other, say, place that you will send Naruto as well. So someone just nod, and yeah, so you chose this time to appear as, and go after the light had dimmed, not go, who are you? It's like, well, some people call me God, some people like you call me Kami, which is my actual name. And I'm here now to give you a choice. Would you rather stay here and choose the decision you've just made to repopulate, say, this entire planet, or would you rather be sent, say, to, say, back to, say, when you was maybe, say around 5-6 years old? I can't guarantee how old you'd be, but you'll be in your younger body, and you can then change this outcome. Though, if you choose that option, then you must choose, say, a sacrifice. What do you mean, a sacrifice? Well, say you could, say, sacrifice to humanity, and what I mean by that, you could choose to, say, become a fox, a dragon, a cat, a dog, so someone's pet, a dragon, or even a tail beast yourself. You could choose one of those outcomes, and if, say, that, because obviously we want to somewhat mitigate this from happening again, so adding 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 changes may hopefully stop this from possibly reoccurring. That I would somewhat think, and would say, and would heavily think, and would go, do it, kid, do it. You'll have your somewhat friends back, and you can get, obviously, though at least this time we'll be, friends, and hopefully we can somewhat, start learning, we'll be able to more easily, or say something, I don't really know. And I would think I would look at Cam and go, yeah, to what yeah, I would like to somewhat go back in time. Should not go, okay, so then what is your sacrifice? What are you willing to live without? Or change, in other words. Well, I was already planning on turning myself into a girl, so how about that? Oh, you'd rather live as a girl? Okay. As you'd somewhat mark it down in the head, as you'd think and go, you need at least one more. That would only take a couple of seconds to think, as he'd then say, and that I may only have or may only give birth to the children of the nine-tailed fox Kuruma. Even Kami would be surprised of that. That was probably the last thing she'd thought Naruto would do. Is you do somewhat realise what obviously it means. I know it means that pretty much the only person I'll forever love would be the nine-tailed fox. I know. Well, if you're certain on that, then could you wait just a second? Sure. You can wait for as long as you want. Naruto then talked to Kuruma, and they would somewhat talk back and forward for a while. Though eventually Naruto would come back and go, well, there's a couple more things I'd like you to do. Sure. Okay, well, could you remove, as you'd somewhat, could you make me bad, don't forget, erase from my memory that I ever made, as you'd start naming the jutsus he made. Those jutsus were the jutsu the 4 or 5 jutsus he named off were kind of classified in the kind of suicidal type jutsus. They were kind of obviously Naruto would pretty much need to be in perfect sage mode and have the 4 nine-tails, which he does, and even that may just barely keep him from being obliterated by those jutsu's outcomes, which are around a triple to quad S rank. And somewhat said, you sure? It's yeah, I don't want to somewhat end up stumbling, accidentally using them, forgetting their outcome, and ending up wiping out myself and a chunk of Konoha, or just all of Konoha as a whole. So just go, well, okay then, if that's your choice. Anything else? No, I'm ready. Okay then, good luck this time around. And somewhat just nod as a flash as a bright light would then erupt, as though around Naruto has done it go dark, as Naruto would all of a sudden feel like he's flying or something, as he'd also feel extremely tired, as he'd yawn and would close his eyes. Though the fox would also somewhat feel the same, though also feel like half of him had just vanished. And that, though you could somewhat understand, as if Kami was sending them either back in time or even into a somewhat another universe, he somewhat just created or something wild. just like something where obviously I haven't read somewhat say be the same to a 3 to 4, 5 or 6 year old, obviously Naruto. Anyway, like neither Kuma nor Naruto knew how much time had passed, but yeah, Naruto would eventually wake up with somewhat and then would almost throw himself out of bed, does let outside and go, would almost look violent around and would let outside. That was a crazy nightmare I had. I dreamed I was a male and they thought she could finish the last sentence. All of Naruto's memories, or at least the ones Naruto, well, all the memories that the only memories Naruto wouldn't receive would be the ones that or whatever the girl was called, whatever, he didn't want to come with him. Anyway, Naruto the girl would close her eyes a bit sharply and a minute later would reopen them as Naruto would go, did it actually, he'd look at himself and would with his hand down and as he'd go, so I really am a girl. As he'd somewhat kind of roughly walk over to the kind of smile, would walk over to the calendar and would see the day and he'd go, so I'm 3 years old, and would look and go, huh, and would look outside and would see the sun would see the sun obviously like in the sky, as he'd presume it'd be around 10 a.m. in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, as it'd go, so I'm 3 years old, and if I remember correctly, today's the day that I met Gigi. As you'd go, as you'd think, hey, Kuma, you there? But she wouldn't hear nothing. The fox had awoken the same time as her, but yeah, no, wait a minute, and would try again, but nothing, because she'd somewhat go, so even so I've probably only got half of Kuma and still his back is tight as it was, so I guess that up until the Land of Waves mission, I probably won't, and that's even if I end up on Kakashi's team this time. But up until a mission where I end up, well, the still ends up losing enough for me to use Kuma's chakra, I won't be able to speak to him. It's somewhat feel a bit odd, lonely. Yeah, of course, Naruto, it was somewhat odd from the first time that obviously he was in the orphanage, male Naruto, because while sure he felt a bit lonely, he always somewhat obviously did pranks and that, and didn't exactly feel that much loneliness, but for some odd reason, now that he knew obviously Kuma was always there, but obviously he can't exactly speak. I somewhat lost my train of thought. Some time would go by as the sun was starting to set, as she'd think to herself, well, it's time to go to the place where me and Gigi first met, as she would easily manage to escape from the orphanage and would eventually make her way down to she first met Gigi, and would catch two fish and make a small little campfire, and was somewhat cooking them as the bushes would start kind of shaking as she'd somewhat scoot back a little bit. Of course, you could already sense it was Hiruzen or Gigi, but as Hiruzen would walk there, she'd go immediately, who are you? As he'd somewhat go, I'm just an old man going out for a walk. And she'd somewhat just slightly nod as they would talk for a bit or a while, as around up to 15 minutes to half an hour would go by, as they were just somewhat back and forth. She'd learned that her name was still her male name, Naruto Uzumaki. Though, yeah. And, at least his name didn't change. And, he would ask Naruto, so then, Naruto-chan, how is the orphanage? As she'd remember what she'd said back when her Gigi first asked that, and he just said that he was lonely, but it was okay. Though she'd be completely honest this time around, thinking something surely may change. Hopefully he wouldn't just send her back to the orphanage for one night and then give her the apartment that he moved into. Yeah. She would somewhat just say that everyone picks on her, calls her demon or even demon slut and that. And she could see his hand clench as Hiruzen was thinking, why can't they damn see that this is only just a child, just a 3-year-old girl. Sure, she may have the 9 tails sealed inside of her, but still, she's still just like all the other children inside the orphanage. Though you could see a bit of some tears in her eyes, as Hiruzen made somewhat almost would kind of cuddle her and bring her in, as he'd go, it's alright, don't worry, I'm not angry at you, I'm angry at those fools in the orphanage. As she'd ask, no, you'll know, they are blind, they are stupid and blind. Though, would you like to, stay with me? Huh? Stay with you? Yes. Would you somewhat like to stay with me just before night? As I'm the leader of this village, I can, I'll say in the morning, look for, a suitable apartment for you. should just go, okay then, GG. As they'd already eaten the fish after it had cooked. And Houston would somewhat pick her up and she'd go, well, I can, sure you may be able to walk, but just let me do this. I should just go, okay then. As Houston would somewhat, well, Houston would carry her all the way back to his house after putting out the small little campfire that they were sitting around. And once he'd arrived back, some of his mates would go, well, Harrison, what? Who do you have there? As of course they would somewhat all know who this was. As he would somewhat smile, this is Naruto-chan. And well, she'll be staying with us for the night. So please help her to please somewhat like help her in washing her and that. The maid would somewhat just nod and would kind of escort her to the bathroom, though before that she'd somewhat look back at it with a bit of fear in her eyes as Susan would say, don't worry, Naruto-chan, you are fine. I trust them. Should somewhat just nod and that fear would go away a little bit, but it was still there. And once she was gone, because the head maid would go, it's like I already guessed you knew who she was. Yeah, but what exactly happened to have her have that type of fear in her eyes? Like, no 3-year-old child should have that type of fear. Well, should someone inform his head maid as she'd be surprised. She'd just, I can't believe no child be that boy or girl should ever live through that. I know. So then, what are you gonna do? Well, tomorrow, well, or at least I'll look. Well, yeah, tomorrow, as it's a bit too late now. But yeah, tomorrow I'll look through the apartments that are available, and I'll choose the three. I'll choose, the three that possibly could suit her the most, and then take her to all three of them if she wants to see all three of them, and she can then choose the one she obviously wants to live in up until, say, she decides to move out, whenever that may be. She just nod and would ask, though there's something else I can ask, go right ahead. Wow. As she's possibly only got those clothes, you may get some more clothes, but remember that though she may be a girl, she may not obviously be one of those girly girls. She may be, what's the word, tomboy. Yeah, she may only wear, say, trousers. She may not wear dresses or skirts or heels, so just think about that. I'm not saying don't get her those, but limit the amount you get. Maybe only get her maybe like 3 or 4, say, dresses and skirts and that, so that at least she has a small variation to choose from. Like, give her, maybe 2 or 3 pairs of trousers, 2 or 3 pairs of, say, skirts and dresses and whatever girls wear. I don't really know, but yeah. Maybe somewhat just nod them. Would say though is it go just tell them to put on my just to tell them to put on the Hokage to take out the to come to me when or like just to something come to me and I'll pay them. So you just nod and go, okay, well I'm gonna go off to see how they're doing. And yeah, in that period of time Naruto was somewhat just laying in the somewhat sitting like in the bathtub. Well, not quite. She's just about to get into the bath. I should spot a full body mirror in the corner of her eye. I should somewhat think, I guess I can look at myself in the mirror first to see how different I am from my 3-year-old self, my original male 3-year-old self, I guess. She'd somewhat just slowly walk over to the mirror and be surprised as she'd somewhat have a somewhat guess like smile all that, as she had she always ever since he could remember when he'd first met his mum. From when he first laid eyes, when obviously the kind of Naruto stopped, when Krishna finally told her that, obviously she wasn't the 9 times fox and she was his real mum, that he loved obviously her red hair and that he really wanted it. He still even did up until this day. And of course what was her hair colour? Well, a beautiful ruby red. It may have not been Kusuno's blood red, but hey, it was still red. Though the beautiful aspect on it wasn't quite seen, as she couldn't even remember if she ever washed her hair. Heck, she couldn't really even remember the last time she washed herself. Somewhat think, I somewhat know how to wash my, I guess short hair, but how do I wash somewhat all of this, as kind of, her hair was down to like around her mid-back. Yeah, it was relatively smooth, though somewhat a mix between Kushina and Minato's hair. It was nice and obviously flat and smooth, but it was also at the ends of her hair. It had spikes in it. It was spiky at the bottom, and if you were to cut her hair, say flat, so that it would have somewhat of a slightly natural curve, that would though in the course of a day to a week, it would all grow back to having those spikes again. Yeah, it's like you can flatten the hair but almost always it will return to its spiky, crazy looked position. You could rarely tame the hair of the spikes. Yeah. But yeah, and obviously her eyes were just like a mother's, a beautiful kind of lavender colour. Violet. Yeah, violet colour. I'm pretty sure Kusuno's eyes are. Yeah, a beautiful violet. Yeah, violet / lavender colour. And yeah, of course, she could see obviously even in her, she obviously had a much more feminine, obviously body. Obviously, she looked a lot more like her mum, and she should somewhat think. Of course, her male self, her old self, looked pretty much exactly like, say, Minato, but obviously her mind was, well, his mind was somewhat like Kushina's, though this time around she'd have, say, she'd look more exactly like Kushina, but it'd have the mind of her father's. And then it somewhat hit her. She'd remember during the war, he'd managed to he'd found himself, he'd gone to Uzugakure to see if there was any type of seal to possibly see, he didn't know, and he'd looked around for the library and ended up seeing like a weird kind of like alien language, he thought to himself, an odd language that he could be like that he'd never seen before, as he'd be able to read it though to his obviously to his surprise, he could understand it and read it. This language was the language of the, well, Uzus, the language of the Uzumaki clan. And yeah, after reading it, it pretty much told him exactly how to summon forth the portal to the library. He'd done exactly like it told, and like he'd read on that stone, and a portal had opened. So yeah, he'd then gone in and had learned pretty much everything within that library. Well, roughly, he'd stumbled across obviously a book about the Gekigenkai of his clan, and had learned that the clan had three. They were somewhat called the Chains of Uzu, the Bite of Uzu, and the Century of Uzu, or in other words, the Antimantian Sealing Chains, Healing Bite, and the Mind's Eye of Kaguya. Yeah, in fact, a book on each one, and had read, of course, about them. Though when he tried to, say, awaken, say, his chains, he couldn't, so he somewhat was currently now thinking, could she possess the chains? Because he'd remembered reading that, obviously, if you was a half Uzumaki, you had a 50-50 chance of awakening the chains, be it male or female. So he somewhat thought if his whole body male body didn't, then maybe she did, and obviously didn't know, and would only know once she could activate her chakra. And obviously then, after activating the chakra and finding out, then she'd have to train in the chains, because obviously she wasn't just gonna yes, I can use them, and then proceed to not train in them. Nato could very much remember that. Obviously, the book strongly recommended that once you'd awaken them, to train in it, as obviously it would be almost suicidal to try and fight someone without any experience in using the chains firsthand. So yeah, she would train in them if she had them. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, she'd then somewhat get into the water and into the nice kind of, it was a nice comfortable, like, it wasn't say hot enough where you'd say dip your toe in and want to get out. It'd be a nice kind of hot where you could say happily slide in. It'd be slightly hot, but it wouldn't be hot enough where you'd be screaming to get out. Yeah, you just somewhat just, it'd be like a nice hot wire the second you somewhat just touched it. You'd want to just slide or melt in with it. Yeah. Yeah, to somewhat get in. And would somewhat just let out a sigh, a nice comfortable sigh of relaxation. And a couple minutes would go by as you'd then kind of start washing herself through. Then she'd somewhat stop for a couple of seconds and would think, I'm gonna have to call a maid to wash my hair. I'll do that once I finish. And she'd then continue to wash herself, well, every part of her that she could. And yeah, and then after getting back in the water to rinse off all the soap and that, she'd then call in her maid as the head maid would enter and go, yes, Naruto-chan, you called, could you help me wash my hair? I don't exactly know how to. Should not. Yeah, sure. And the maid would somewhat undress to somewhat get, and would then get into the water and would then start would then kind of help Naruto in washing her hair, and somewhat tell her with obviously her hair that she should probably, like say, wash it every other day with shampoo and conditioner. Because for Naruto, he generally only had somewhat roughly short hair that was obviously quite spiky, and he would rinse his hair every day under water, but he rarely washed it. He may only say he put shampoo and conditioner on his hair. Like on his head, maybe you say like maybe like once to twice a week, or even heck maybe once or twice a month even. So yeah, he didn't often wash his hair because it was most of the time like only really needed a quick wash, and it was like a quick kind of just rinse and it'd be fine. And though he guessed obviously somewhat now obviously having longer hair and somewhat obviously known as a girl for obviously to not really exactly be picked on by other children her own age. She'd really have to take care of her hair. Yeah, she'd somewhat let a bit of a sigh, but would just somewhat nod. Yeah. And yeah, they would then somewhat get out, and she would be drying her body as the maid would dry Naruto's hair. And yeah, she would then somewhat escort Naruto to the bedroom, and she would go, what am I exactly meant to have to sleep as? She'd somewhat just look at her and go, well, you don't really need anything to go to sleep, and though if you really say must need something like to wear, then well, I guess what is comfortable to you is I had to go obviously some night clothes so that I somewhat had some in the orphanage. So just know and go, wait 1 minute. There's one of the head maid would tell one of the other maids, which would tell one of the Armbu that pretty much guarded the entire obviously property, and the Armbu would head off to the orphanage, sent to the orphanage into specifically Naruto's room, and the only clothes she had besides from what she'd worn was the night clothes. She'd done that, and we would pick them up and we'd then send them back. And yeah, Naruto would say thank you to the maid would say thank you, and Naruto would say thank you to the maid when the maid had walked in with night clothes. Naruto would then somewhat put them on and would slide into bed. The maid would somewhat just look at them and would somewhat think she really needed clothes. And yeah, then obviously the next morning would roll around and Naruto, I meant to go, come on Naruto, it's time to get up, it's morning, it's time to go. Somewhat moan, and we'd go 5 more minutes, and nope, come on up now, breakfast. Fine, I should groggily get up, with low yawn, as she'd somewhat get up, she'd then blink and would look around her. This isn't. You've already forgotten by your eyes. Should blink and think it should go. Oh right, I'm in Gigi's home. Ooh. Yes, you're in Hiruzen or Hokage-sama's house. I know someone's not on my girlfriend. Go, should someone look on where exactly are my clothes? Well, as they were quite, say, like discussing that we threw them out. What? But don't tell me that, Jan. We'd already asked Hokage about. The head maid had asked Hokage-sama when he was in the bath if we could go out and get you some clothes, so that's what we did. And because the clothes you wore around were tattered and clearly old, so we somewhat got you some new ones. And someone just nodded as she'd then lay them all out on the bed and go, well, so these are tops, and Hiruzen had told us to not go, say, somewhat overboard because we didn't know what type of girl you are. What do you mean? Well, if you're a tomboy or a more on the lines of a girl, and what I mean by that is the type of clothes you'd wear. If you somewhat say you wear like a short sleeve or long sleeve, say, top and trousers, that is more of a tomboy look. Or would you say wear, say, like a short sleeve and skirt or a dress or that? That's more of a, say, more on the lines of a, say, girly girl. But yeah. And obviously with that outfit you may also wear heels or some other type of shoe. So we somewhat bought you kind of a mix. So we bought you 4 different pairs of tops, 8 different pairs of tops, 4 pairs of trousers, 4 pairs of skirts, and 4 different dresses. Like 4 different pairs of tights, and somewhat ramble on what they'd somewhat bought her. Now they'd somewhat be taken aback and surprised on just the amount of different clothes that girls just like had, pretty much. Yeah, girls just had so many different clothes they could wear. And Naruto somewhat just look at kind of all the clothes on the bed and should go and should look over them all, but would somewhat then look more. Catherine would decide. Go. Obviously, should go. Should somewhat think to herself. I think maybe I should give maybe a nice dress a try. I should look at them and go, I want to wear the dress. Right, someone nod and go, okay then, what dress out of the four you see, what one would you like to wear? Naruto-chan. I don't think for a bit longer, and then she'd decide the red and violet. Well, yeah, the red and violet dress. Part of it was red, part of it was violet. You can somewhat imagine a red and violet dress, though it would somewhat like the colours somewhat fade into one another. It's a two-toned like fade from red, or from either red to violet or violet to red. It's a fade. Yeah. And well, yeah, you can decide, would it be like a nice, say, bright violet or a dark violet, or would it be a nice bright ruby red or a dark crimson red? You guys can decide on how the dress would look. Though, if you're curious on what Naruto or a 3-year-old Naruto would look like, imagine what a 3-year-old Kushina would look like, because that's roughly what Naruto would look like. Yeah, Naruto obviously would taken pretty much. So instead of, well, yeah, I think I said it earlier on, but she'd look more so exactly right now like a 3-year-old Kushina. So yeah, anyway, after kind of putting on some fresh, after obviously getting undressed, she'd then put on some fresh obviously underwear, and then put on the dress she chose, and then the somewhat the what's called tights she'd also put on. And yeah, after that, I'd put all the clothes, put the clothes back into, would put them all back into a couple of different bags, and we'd go, and there's, two more things, there's two more things I kind of need to show you. One more thing you have to pick, which is obviously shoes you'd like to wear, though you'd obviously wear those once you reach the front door, you'd put them on. And it's just not, though there's something me and Lee made somewhat bought you. What's that? And I did somewhat, blinkishly, we somewhat didn't exactly know, say, if you'd say like it, so we just got you this, as Dima did pull out kind of a like stuffed fox, a fox teddy. Yeah, not exactly what it'd be called, I guess. Yeah, a fox teddy fox, I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments down below what it'd be called. And that would somewhat go wide-eyed, and made it go, do you not like it? As she'd grab it and go, I love it. You see, somewhat of a tear would go down her eyes. She'd just cuddle it, somewhat slightly reminding her of much bigger, obviously, much bigger, nine-tailed fox. Yeah, and she would somewhat look up and go, "Thank you. I love it a lot." Somewhat be very sigh of relief as it made somewhat obviously remember she was obviously the nine-tailed Choki, and somewhat thought maybe becoming the nine-tailed Choki at the time of her birth, maybe she may like foxes and that. They obviously didn't really know what animals she really liked. Sure they could go back, wake her up, ask her, but the surprise would be ruined. So they somewhat just went on a huge kind of just hope that she liked it. And yeah, she did. Well, she loved it. She didn't like it, she loved it. And yeah. And the men will go though, the men just obviously go, "Well, can you though put it back in this bag well, so it doesn't really get say damaged until you move into your new apartment." Okay, and Manto just look a bit dejected and sad that she had to part so soon with her stuffed fox Teddy, and would just go fine, and we'd put it in the bag. And it's like, though, you said I had to choose one more thing. Yes. Well, your shoes, obviously. You're not going to walk around Konoha in tights now, and they'd get ruined. You'd end up ripping them by the time you reach Hokage-sama. I guess so. And yeah, the maid would then pull out from the bag a couple of shoes. And yeah, Naruto would somewhat think as they didn't exactly know what she'd like, so obviously, so they just got in her some, kind of one pair, kind of each, so one pair of, say, somewhat, basic, some obviously ninja sandals, some, and then say like some kind of like ankle high boots, and then like normal length boots, and some then, and maybe, just like those three though. The kind of ninja grade sandal had like a millimeter or two of heel, because her obviously only being a 3-year-old child, obviously the heel would be quite small. It wouldn't be like a centimeter or two. That would be maybe once she reached, say, like 7 or 8 years old, the heel would be around a centimeter or two. So yeah. Anyway, after choosing these shoes, which she decided to kind of wear the boots, which shoes once again can somewhat decide on, say, the colour of it. If it was just like a single, maybe black, white, blue, grey, green, or was it two-toned, or triple-toned, or quad. Anyway, you guys can somewhat decide the design of the like the boot suits, boot suit then she then somewhat, after choosing them, the the maid would then put the other shoes back into the bag and would put all 4 bags on top of a somewhat seal and would channel a small bit of chocolate into a seal as they would all disappear. And I'd go, what? And she'd go, right, you mate. She'd go, you of course don't know what this is. This is what you'd call a say sealing scroll. All the stuff pretty much I just put on there is kind of contained in this, so don't lose this, okay? Naruto-chan, okay. And obviously once you've chosen once you're living in the apartment that Hokage-sama has chosen for you, you will then, ask him and he will obviously release the stuff inside of this. Though don't worry, this scroll also belongs to you, so you don't have to return this to us, okay? Okay. And I did somewhat think for a minute. Oh yeah. Well no, Naruto they would then somewhat go off towards the dining area. Should somewhat see, say the head maid, obviously, let's say, seemed a bit kind of sad, though, once she saw kind of Naruto, kind of cheered up, but also still looked a bit sad, as I'd go, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay, Naruto-chan. Really, you seem sad. Well, you see somewhat. Obviously, you Naruto. You liked buying. You didn't say shopping, didn't you? Well, kind of, but we more so. Or I more so. I'm not sure about the other age, but so buying something for, say, someone, it's not exactly that often we get to do that, and yeah, it's somewhat just nice being able to, say, buy something for, someone who somewhat appreciates what we do. I don't think, but I don't exactly mind, say, on my birthday, you could buy me something. What, just me? No, all the maids, if they if obviously you don't have to. And the maid would somewhat brighten up a lot more and go, really? Yeah. And just somewhat just cut down and go, thank you, Naruto-chan. And after that they'd somewhat talk a bit. Well, the maids and that would somewhat talk for a bit, and Hiruzen would somewhat look at the time as he'd told the maids to obviously have Naruto up and somewhat say out by around 12 o'clock. Well, obviously he'd been doing paperwork and he'd now finished them all for the day, and would looked at the clock and would see she's an hour late, and would go dog, as dog would then somewhat arrive. Hi Hokage-sama, you called? Yes, can you go to my residence and ask for what is keeping Naruto? Hi Hokage-sama, as you then leave, and obviously attention towards Hokage, towards Hiruzen's house. As Naruto's pretty much, obviously they were talking, Naruto's on a 15th bowl of cereal. Yeah, the maids were just astonished on how much a little girl could eat. Yeah, though it was obviously a small bowl, but still she could really pack the food down wherever she put it. Yeah. And anyway, after pretty much, 15th bowl, she could throw a chocolate at the door. Then they'd be obviously knocking them, and maids would open the door and go, Dog-san, how may I help you? Hokage-sama is wondering what is keeping Naruto. She's an hour late for the appointment. And blink. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'll go get her right now. The ombuds is somewhat not done with the way as the man would run back in. Naruto-chan somewhat kind of an hour behind. While we're kind of captured for an hour, you're an hour late to meet with Hokage-sama. What? It's like it's not your fault, Naruto, don't worry, it's our fault we kept you. Yeah, anyway, yeah, after that, Naruto somewhat Naruto would hold on to the scroll, and she'd walk to the front door, and she'd then slip on the boots she chose, and would look at the mates and would say, thank you for having me. They would just smile and go, it was our pleasure, Naruto-chan, and we look forward to we somewhat look forward to seeing you on your birthday. Naruto would somewhat just smile and nod and would go, okay then, bye bye. And somewhat walk outside to where dog was waiting for her, and she'd then go, morning, dog-san. And his dog would look back and go, morning, Naruto-chan. Now then, hold on to my hand and we will be away. She'd somewhat just nod and we'd hold on to his hand as she'd think from it, wait, I feel like I know this person, or at least the chakra and how it feels. It couldn't be right. Maybe. I don't. I guess I'll just have to wait and see. And they would eventually arrive at Hiruzen's place. Well, the Hokage Tower after around a minute or two. Yeah. And Hiruzen go, how are you, Naruto? Naruto-chan is I'm doing fine, GG. Is that the clothes my maid said bought you? Hi. Hi, GG. I see. Well, now then, shall we be underway to go to the to look at an apartment, to look at what you're going to choose. I've chosen 3 apartments, Naruto-chan, and you can choose which one you like. Really? Yes. Yes, Naruto-chan. And Naruto then somewhat be at the door. Well, what are we waiting for then? As some mid-chakra and go, hold up. I'm not as fast as you are. Zid somewhat get up and would walk around. And yeah, as he would then somewhat, and yeah, after around a well, say 7-8 minutes, they'd arrive at the first apartment, which was the apartment Naruto, say like the canon apartment Naruto obviously Hiruzen gave to him. And yeah, then Naruto had said maybe, but could I look at the other two first? Hiruzen had somewhat just nodded and led her to the second one, which somewhat looked, say, slightly similar, though this one was in a more of a kind of, obviously, instead of, say, almost being a solo apartment, it was, this one was more, obviously, in an apartment building, so it was a one-bedroom, like, apartment, somewhat in, say, slightly smaller than Naruto's canon apartment, but at least he'd have, like, like some next, like, she'd have maybe like Chunin, like Jonin, obviously in the kind of apartment, and she'd seen that and almost immediately went, no, not this one. Isn't it just said, okay, not that one. One down, one left to go, one left to see. Well, two seen, one you didn't like, one you're not sure. And yeah, this is the last one. And they would arrive, and well, of course, when they were going, here's gonna tell her what it was, which was it was a slightly bigger apartment than her canon one, her old, like an old one that she'd lived in. It was a 2-bedroom apartment instead. Yeah, so obviously it was much bigger. Once she'd arrived, she'd somewhat looked around and said, can I have this one? And Hiruzen just nod. Yup. Though, it would take, say, roughly an hour to, say, furnish and that, but yeah. Though, how about it takes you to a place, to a place? So here's gonna just nod and go, yeah. Like, firstly, can I have that scroll? But what? Only so, say, when we get to that place, you don't end up, say, someone ends up taking it from you, or, say, and, like, you end up misplacing it. Okay, GG, don't worry, Nat, I'll give it back to you once we leave the place. Okay, GG. She'd like kind of hesitantly give it to him, knowing that kind of somewhat the one, like, she somewhat cared about the clothes, as the maid had obviously got them, but the one thing she cared about above all else, was the fox plush that was in it. She really didn't want to lose that. Yeah, because it was the only thing that would obviously remind her of Chroma up until she could finally talk to the furball again. And yeah, they'd somewhat arrive at a place, as the place would be Ichiraku Ramen. And I had to go, but I've already had breakfast, CG. I know, but I haven't, so maybe like you say, but surely you're still like at least a bit hungry, right? And that would go, well, a little bit. Well then, how about you just have, say, like a small, say, like ramen, like a small bowl of ramen, ramen? What's that? As Hiruzen would explain what ramen is. Obviously, Naruto already knew what ramen was, but you had to at least act a bit clueless on, what it was. And yeah, after that they would obviously enter and she just go, Hokage-sama. It's a pleasure to see you. It's a pleasure to have you and see you. And yeah, see you. No. Yeah, and what? And who do you have here? And she somewhat obviously hid behind like Hughes and kind of being kind of on the extreme side of shyness as Chaka and go, this is Naruto. Wow. Hi there, Naruto-chan. Well, what ramen would you like? Could I have, she'd obviously give out an order though, a small bowl to somewhat just look at who's in with somewhat just say she's already eaten. She'd just go, and somewhat go to the one would go and so what would you like, Hokage-sama? I'd have the same thing. She'd somewhat just nod and go to the back and we'd start cooking. Yeah. And after he'd cooked up the ramen bowls, he'd then serve them to Huzen and Naruto respectively. Yeah. And he'd go, I hope you like it, Naruto-chan, as Naruto would say, thank you, is somewhat smart, and I'm Tucci, and I actually have a daughter as well, though she's a bit older than you, Naruto, but yeah, I hope maybe it's like, if you come here again, you may be able to see her. And Naruto would somewhat I would like that, as somewhat just smile and go, and yeah, she'd then somewhat tuck in and would obviously be in heaven pretty much as since the war started, she'd remembered back until like her obviously whole life, where obviously she once obviously the fourth and pretty much forever last Great Shinobi War had started, he hadn't once ate a bowl of ramen, just really didn't have time. He was constantly on the front lines. Well, he practically was. He hadn't slept in who knows how long. Yeah, of course he'd slept, but he couldn't remember the last time he had just a nice bowl of Ichiraku ramen. Yeah. You'd remember when the village was destroyed. He was just angered and it somewhat managed to pretty much kill all except for Madara, as Madara was too strong. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. After eating their bowls and letting it digest for a bit, then Hizen would go up and go, well, and we'd obviously pay him and go, well, it was nice, well, thank you, Chuchi, and hopefully, I may, have a good day. Do you say, would somewhat nod and would wave goodbye, and Naruto obviously would say thank you for the food, and pretty much it was like, who's the pretty much like the food of the gods, and yeah, and obviously should almost most definitely somewhat be back, who's in somewhat shackled at that, and yeah, and so they were, it's somewhat, who's would then take her to the Hokage monument, and would point out to obviously each face on the monument and who they were. Obviously when he got to his, he said, well, then that's of course me. And the one next to me, that one is the fourth Hokage. And he would somewhat explain that obviously that Minto had died battling the nine-tailed fox. I mean, I would say a bit of a white lie in that obviously Minto had obviously sacrificed his life to kill the nine-tails, though she obviously, having of course her past life memories, obviously knew she was the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, but she wasn't going to say, oh no, I know he sealed it inside me, didn't he? Like, yeah, a 3-year-old child saying that would, yeah, who's would want to know who on earth told her. So yeah, she was going to stay quiet. Oh, damn it. I'm yawning. Anyway, yeah, after that, they had somewhat sat on Minto's head and look over the villagers. She'd go, hey, GG, she'd go, yes, Naruto-chan, what is it? Say, when could I say start training to become a ninja? Well, firstly you'd have to enroll in the academy, which, well, you can only enroll in the academy once you're of the age of 6, but yeah, well, oh yeah, I guess if you really want to become a ninja, well, when you're once you're of the age to enroll, I can say enroll you, and when when your age group starts the academy, obviously we'll come and tell you, and yeah, I do somewhat just nod and go, but yeah, and they'd somewhat just kind of sit in nice quietness as the village would go on, as well, yeah, it was somewhat just nice sometimes just to sit down and just relax and just watch the world go by. It was nice and relaxing, and yeah, pretty much almost 2 hours would go by. I just say, Armbu would go, Hokage-sama, the apartment that has been furnished. He'd say somewhat, he'd just nod and go, Naruto-chan, yeah, GG. Well, it seems like your apartment has been finished. So shall we head off and see what it now looks like, all nice and furnished? Hi. Let's go. He was in with somewhat chuckle a bit. And well, yeah, they would head off. And yeah, once they'd arrive and once they'd got in there, they'd run about and said, I love it. He'd smile and go, and yes, the scroll, right. As he'd pull out the scroll and would chuck her into it as four bags, 2 of them full of clothes, one like her stuffed fox, and the stuffed fox teddy, and the last one obviously being full of shoes, and the different shoes that the maids had bought her. Who's would go, well then, I don't know, Naruto channel, I must leave, but if you ever need me, I'll be, well, I'll be in the Hokage Tower. Okay, GG, and also if you ever need, and you don't have to worry, that I've got an armboo that will protect you from many stupid people. So if you have any questions or that, just call out dog and he'll appear. Okay. Hi. Okay. GG. Who's gonna just not go well? Yeah. And and just before I forget, I should pull out some money and go here. This will be obviously say for food. Like, obviously, say some food and clothing that when you go out of those, and obviously like spend whatever you really want to spend it on. Okay, Naruto. Okay, Naruto. Hi, GG. Okay. This one just not go well. Bye then. Bye, GG. Have a good day. And you have a good day as well. And yeah, here's me then leave and how to somewhat carry pretty much. Well, she'd then go to like the main bedroom, which had a walk-in wardrobe. I should somewhat dump the 3 bags in there. 2 of them obviously being full of clothes, the other one being the shoes, and yeah. And the 4th bag she'd somewhat just thrown on her bed, knowing that the only thing it contained was the fox steady. And yeah, she'd then obviously start somewhat somewhat just trying to put her clothes away. Obviously she was a bit too small to get to the hangers and that, so she just somewhat just dumped the bags on the. I'm thinking about when I'm either taller or that I'll sort them out. Yeah. And yeah, she'd somewhat just managed to shut that door, and we'd walk to her bed and we'd pull the kind of fox plush out of the bag and we'd cuddle it. And yeah guys, that's where I'm gonna end this part. So if you obviously want a part 2, tell me in the comments down below. And yeah, so yeah, obviously, so for those who are wondering what happened to the other 3 what ifs, well, obviously if you didn't watch my last video or part I did, possibly part, pretty much that. So I'll be doing, you'll be getting obviously this part, and this what if, this one, and this one this week, and then next week you will get this one, then that one, and that one, or that one, then that one, then that one next week, and then obviously the week after this one and that. Anyway, so yeah guys, of course, if you do want a part 2, leave me in the comments down below. And yes guys, hopefully you enjoyed it. Stay safe, have a good day or night depending on where you are when you're watching this, and good